Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It was a really decent episode. It could have been an amazing and great episode if it weren't for Eda being so frustrating and being like, no, I don't want to talk. But I'm going to talk about that later, because before I get into my review, if you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. I summarize and review the latest Serkan Kapımı episodes, say what I like, what I didn't like, what I think might happen next. If you like these kinds of videos, like, comment, share, but most importantly subscribe so we can meet on a weekly basis. So first we have them and Layla. We see them getting closer together and I'm really excited to see more of them, because Erdem was so hilarious when he and Layla were out for coffee or something like that, and then it slipped that he actually wanted to go with somebody else, but Layla was his last choice, and then she gets really annoyed and he forgot his wallet, so she had to pay for everything, and it was just so hilarious. Then we also have Celine and Ferit. Their storyline was non-existent in this episode. Then we have Engin and Pırıl. They supported Serkan to kind of get back together with Eda, and also to support him during this very confusing time for him. Towards the end of the episode, it was really weird because Pırıl had a physical reaction, like she didn't feel well. So I'm really interested to see what happens with Pırıl. I hope nothing happens to their child. Then we have Melek supporting Eda all the way. And in general, the girl group is kind of back together. So Celine, Melek and Eda are following Celine to see if she's really pregnant. The girls are actually looking through Celine's stuff, so except for Eda because she's downstairs with Serkan. They're looking through Celine's stuff to see if they find some proof where the doctor is and if she's really pregnant. So later in the episode, they follow Celine to the hospital and Serkan is watching them and is really confused, like, why are the girls following Celine? And then they go to the hospital. They see Celine and the doctor talking, walking somewhere. Celine goes inside his office and looks through his laptop, but she can't find anything on Celine. So she's really confused. Maybe Celine is not pregnant, because before that Celine saw Celine drinking some water or something and also having some medicine in her hand, but that medicine can't be taken by pregnant women. So she's like, okay, if she takes these, then that means that she's not pregnant. Then Eda is like, yeah, she's not pregnant, blah blah blah, it's just a game for her, because Dennis is actually calling, because he was also there and not there, kind of. So he is warning Eda and trying to get back on her good side by warning Eda of Celine's game. So because he still knows that Celine wants to separate Eda and Serkan, he warns her, watch out, this is her game, blah blah blah, don't listen to her. But Eda is not listening to him, but then still kind of going that route that it's a game for Celine. So I'm like, she was so frustrating in this episode. Anyways, towards the end of the episode, Dennis is confronting Celine because he heard from Ayfer that Celine is pregnant. So he's like, is this my child? She's not answering, but her look is like, well, what a stupid question, of course it's yours. And yeah, that's kind of the Dennis storyline. Back to Celine and the girl storyline. So when Eda wants to confront Celine, because they are watching Celine walk out of her house, and she has kind of a reaction because she touches her stomach, goes into her car. Eda goes also into Celine's car, wants to talk. Celine is like, what do you want from me? I want to live my life with my child. I kind of understand her because she doesn't want to cause any trouble anymore. I don't know, I felt kind of sorry for her, because she's like, what else do you want from me? I'm leaving you alone. I'm not interfering with my child, because I mean, she could be like, Serkan, this is your child, so let's get together. But she doesn't do that. She wants to move away and let Serkan and Eda be together, because she sees that Serkan is head over heels. So she understands that, but Eda is the one pushing her, being like, no, Serkan needs to know, blah blah blah. I mean, I kind of also get Eda's standpoint, but I mean, it's Celine's child, she gets to decide. It's so frustrating. Anyways, Eda tells her she's not believing Celine, this is all a game, she's not pregnant, and then Celine faints. So the girls drive her to the hospital. Celine wakes up, is really confused, wants to go out ASAP, but then the doctor comes in, says, yeah, your levels are normal now and the baby is fine. So that's when Eda really gets the confirmation that Celine really is pregnant, and then Celine explains explains the whole situation, that it might have happened back then when everything was so confusing, blah blah blah. But then I don't know if it was the translation or something, because she says lately it was a very stressful time. So lately it could have been the time where she and Serkan were already back in Istanbul. So lately is the time where she got to know Dennis, and not back then, because she could have said in Slovenia or something, but she didn't. She said lately. So I hope that the translation was right and Eda just misunderstood. So anyways, I think it's Dennis' child. So Eda, being the good girl she is, she doesn't want to stand between a child and his father, blah blah blah. As I said, I understand her standpoint, but I also understand Celine's standpoint. And I mean, this is her way of living. She wants this life for her child. Like, you can't force a mother to do something that you think is right. Like, you can't do this. But anyways, so is there anything else to the Celine storyline? I don't think so. Oh yeah, because Serkan finds out from Eda that Celine is pregnant, but I'm going to talk about that later. So he goes, confronts Celine. She doesn't deny that she is pregnant, because she is, but she doesn't tell him that it's not his. So she's confusing him, kind of. Maybe she's confused herself, but I mean, you know who you slept with. So I don't know what her motive is in this scenario, but she's confusing Serkan a lot, because Eda just broke up with him. He finds out that Celine is pregnant and he's the father, so he's so confused, so overwhelmed by everything, and he tells her it's impossible because there was nothing between us, blah blah blah. And I mean, there was also a scene where I think it was the next day after the proposal, where Serkan is calling Celine asking if she talked to Eda, because why would Eda decline his proposal? And she's like, don't you get it? Like, I see that you are with Eda. I don't want anything to do with that. What I did was in the past. I did it out of love, but I see that you're with Eda, blah blah blah. So why would I do that? As I said, in this episode, I kind of felt bad for Celine. I felt really bad for Serkan, and I felt so frustrated with Eda. But back to the side storylines. Then we also have Aydan, Ayfer, Seyfi and Kemal. So the only thing that happened in this storyline is that Aydan found out that Kemal is doing business with Serkan. Serkan is still holding back on this whole deal with Kemal, because Kemal wants to sign the papers right then and there. Serkan wants to look them over one more time. Eda is like, what's there to look over some more, blah blah blah, let's sign it now. Because Melek told Serkan to kind of give Eda some time because of the proposal, because everything she went through, Serkan agrees to what Eda is saying just to please her. They're doing their business thing. Aydan comes in, is shocked to see Kemal there, and then Serkan is having a little chat with Kemal, asking him to not mix business and private life together because of what he saw the night before happen with Eda. And then Kemal is saying that we only have one life, and one decision in one life might affect or will affect all the other lives. So if you decide something in your business life, it will also affect your private life, your friendship life, whatever. And then we have Kemal sitting at a table at a restaurant where him and Aydan were sitting when they were young, and he was remembering that time. He calls her and tells her that, and she also remembers that time, and he's inviting her to go as well. And Ayfer and Seyfi are pushing Aydan to accept the invitation, but she's like, no. But then later in the episode, because she kind of feels that she really loves him and she's falling for him once again, she is telling him that she wants to meet him, but because she wants to talk about Serkan, that Serkan shouldn't know about their history, because Serkan was also questioning her, what was that all about, you storming in kind of knowing Kemal? And then Aydan kind of deflected and said that they should drink some coffee. Like, she was changing the topic. They are drinking tea or something, and she's talking to Kemal, and it was just so adorable because he saw that she's slightly falling for him and that she still has feelings for him. And then when he didn't hold her back, because she said yeah, she wants to go, because he wanted to drink some coffee after the tea, and she says no, I want to go, blah blah blah, and then he didn't keep her there, so she goes. She's really shocked and surprised that he didn't say stay. So when she goes, then she looks back and sees him looking at her. It was just so adorable watching them two, and I'm so excited to see where this story might lead us. So yeah, is there anything else with the side storylines? I don't think so. So we can move on to the Eda and Serkan storyline. So the episode starts right after the proposal. Eda is walking off because she says she's not in the position to make a decision, that she's tired of everything she's been through, because Serkan walks after her and tries to find an explanation why she declined it. And then her explanation is that she's tired of trying to make him remember her, and I'm like, girl, like, this is the most stupid explanation you can come up with. Like, why aren't you talking? And that's what I hate so much. During this whole series, she never confronted, like she never talked. And then when he had the secret where he knew that his father was involved with the death of her parents, she's like, why did you come to me? Because we can work it through. And that's what Serkan is doing. Why don't you talk to me? We can work it through. I want to be with you forever, blah blah blah. And she's like, no, I'm tired, I don't want to talk with you. And I'm like, girl, like, talk. Communication is key. Work this out. Like, why are you keeping this from him? I mean, she's the one saying that he needs to know that he has a child, but you are also the one saying that you don't want to talk to him. Like, why? So the same night, Serkan goes to her place. She sends him off because she's tired. She doesn't want to talk to him, blah, blah, blah. And then she talks to Melek, and it is like she doesn't want to ruin a child's life. I mean, it's Celine's decision, first of all. And second of all, she then tells Melek that he did it on purpose. Like, she says, how could he do this to me? Like, kind of insinuating that he did it on purpose. And I'm like, girl, first you say he forgot you on purpose, but then when he remembers, you tell him that you know he didn't forget you on purpose, and now you're saying that he slept with Celine on purpose when he didn't remember you because he only remembered her. Like, your logic is nowhere to be found, in my opinion, and it's just so frustrating to watch her. So poor Serkan is desperately trying to find a conversation with her, trying to find a reason why she declined his proposal, because he thought that they were finally going to be happy. So the next day, he, Engin and Pugul are talking, and Engin is kind of like telling him to try to win Eda back. So that's what Serkan trying to do. It was just so adorable when he appeared with this box and he didn't know where to put it on her place, so he just put it there. And then he also looked at some island pictures and beaches because he wanted to take her there, because for him it seemed like she didn't quite get his love with words, so he needs to show her his love, kind of. So that's why he was planning dinner and vacations and whatnot. When she sees the present, she opens it up, and it's actually the book that Altikane gifted Serkan when it was his birthday, so The Little Prince. And he said that this book is really important to him, but she's more important to him, and he doesn't want to read this book by himself. And then she's like, no, I don't remember the book that much, blah blah blah. But then later she knows every word, but I'm going to talk about that later. Then it was just so hilarious. So Leyla was sent to Serkan's office by Melek and Ceren to get Eda out of there so they can follow Celine to the hospital. Eda and Serkan have kind of a moment after the book. Leyla comes in, and Serkan's facial expression, Serkan in that scene, it was just so hilarious, and I loved it when Leyla was telling Eda that the girls are waiting for her to go, and Serkan is like, no, she doesn't go, blah blah blah. He gets so frustrated when Eda is going, and then I think she said that she's going to a beauty doc or something, and he's like, you don't need Botox, your facial structure is perfect, blah blah blah. And then she's like, no, I will go and then come back later. And his frustration, it was just so hilarious, and I loved it. Oh, I think there was also a scene the next day, like after the proposal, when Serkan was asking Eda if she talked to Celine, if Celine might have said something, and Eda was declining. And then Serkan was bearing it all out for her, being like, you're the love of my life, I love you so much, blah blah blah, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And also telling her, even though I didn't remember you, I still fell in love with you, and that should mean something. And I'm like, hell yeah, it should mean something. I mean, if a person can fall in love with you twice, like, girl, he's the one for you. So he was kind of begging her to be together, to be happy together. And then she just walks off and then cries outside, and I'm like, girl, why? Why? Oh, and there was also the scene. So after Kemal left, Serkan was kind of confronting Eda where she knows Kemal from, and then Ayfek steps in and then starts talking about Eda to kind of understand her, why she declined everything, and also maybe it's because of everything she went through and the thing with Dennis. And that's when Dennis comes in, so Serkan loses it and is charging at Dennis. It was just so hilarious. And then Serkan, I don't know where Eda came from, or was she there the whole time? I don't remember. But Serkan takes Eda's hand and they just go to his place. And then he's asking her, are you tired of me? She's like, no. So Serkan is like, then why are you like this? And then she's like, some things can't be solved. He's really confused. And I'm like, girl, please talk clearly. Tell him the truth. And then she's like, I don't want to upset you, but I don't want to talk to you. I'm like, girl, this logic is zero. Like, you don't want to upset him, but you upset him by not talking to him, and then you also tell him you don't want to talk to him. Like, girl, why? And then they cook together, they have a moment together, so Serkan is really happy that they're closer together. So when the girls are following Celine, Serkan is calling Eda because he wants to pick her up. She then sends him the location. She's at the hospital, so he's really concerned. Why the hell are you at the hospital? Jagan is there and tells him that she might have gotten some temperature. They would just wanted to get her checked out. Then he takes her to his place because he wants to cure her. So then Eda is in pajamas, and then he's taking care of her, making her tea, and he tells her he has a surprise for her, but after she drank the tea. So she's drinking it, drowning it. I'm like, girl, you're desperate. They have this whole moment where they're reading The Little Prince together, and she remembers the words, blah blah blah, even the page. And then Serkan is once again confessing his feelings, his love to her. I'm like, you're just so amazing. Why are you so stupid, Eda? And then she wants him to tell her about their future together. I'm like, girl, you want to break up with him, but you still want to hear your future with him? Like, why are you doing this? And him telling her everything, I just love that scene so much. I have to say, all the Eda and Serkan moments, I really love them, like the ones that are positive. But one thing that I couldn't get over was Serkan's hair. Like, what the hell is happening there? Then there's this dinner at Ayfek's place. Everybody is there. Eda is really kind of off because she knows she wants to break up with Serkan because she doesn't want to stand between a father and his child. So Serkan is excusing himself to the toilet. He goes to Eda's room, is looking around, shoots some darts at his face, apologizes to her that he went into her room without her permission. Then he's questioning her. She's avoiding the questions. He goes downstairs, and then when she comes back, she's breaking up with him, and I'm like, girl, in front of everybody. And that's also when she tells him that Celine is pregnant. Everybody is shocked, like, what the hell is happening? Where did you get that from? So she's questioning him. Well, don't you remember in Slovenia, blah blah blah, after the accident? And he denies everything. And I'm like, girl, like, why can you have just talked it calmly? Calmly talk with him. Dude, listen, look what Celine told me. Is it true? Blah blah blah. Let's take a test together. Why not go this route? But no, you're like, oh, Celine is pregnant. Are you denying it? Oh, in Slovenia, don't you remember? Blah blah blah. How could you do that to me? Oh, it was so frustrating to watch. So that's when Serkan goes to Celine, confronts her. He then goes to Aydan, and I really like the Aydan and Serkan scenes in this episode because you can really see her supporting her child. Then the next day, Serkan is still very upset that Eda broke up with him. He goes to her place, wants to make sure that she understands it's not his, but she doesn't believe him. And then he's begging her to spend the night with him. So that's when he prepares some food, candles, or romantic. And Eda actually comes in a sexy dress, and I'm like, girl, if you don't want some naughty time, you don't dress like that. Like, that dress was kind of a negligee, and it was really, that was a little bit much for a person who just broke up with him and doesn't want to do the naughty stuff, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know, I would have chosen a different outfit. Then they're talking, then the music starts playing, they're dancing, they're close together, they're about to kiss. She pulls away and then she's like, I only came because I wanted to spend time with you. And I'm like, well, aren't you spending time with him, even if it went that way? But okay, so they're back on the couch, they're talking, and him asking her if she wants to go with him to Paris because he needs to go there. And then she remembers what he told her on the skating ring when he said that he will go somewhere special in Paris, I believe, with the woman he loves, and that's what he's asking her right now. So then she asks him to tell her everything about Paris and where he would take her. Then we have the scene where Aidan is confronting Celine and kind of being there for her, because apparently Celine doesn't have a great relationship with her parents, so Aidan was kind of her mother, and that's also what Aidan is insinuating. I will support you, whatever your decision is. And I felt so bad for Celine when she said, do you think I should have an abortion because all the problems are tied to this child and I don't want to cause any more problems? And Aidan is like, well, it's your decision, I will support you either way. And I felt so bad for Celine. It was just really emotional, and you could really see that she doesn't want to be with Serkan anymore. She just wants to live her life with her child if somebody would let her, but Eda is not letting her live her life like she wanted to, and it's just so frustrating. So then the next day Serkan is looking for Eda, and she left him this goodbye letter where she's saying that it's not a goodbye for her, he's the love of her life and she doesn't want to stand between a child and his father, and kind of like love conquers all obstacles, and the greater the love, the greater the obstacles, or something like that. Like, you can find it online everywhere, you can read it everywhere. So he goes to Eda's place. Ayfek is even desperately looking for Eda because she doesn't know where Eda is. Serkan is also there, and Melek tells them that Eda is actually going to New York. So we see Eda in the taxi while he's reading the letter, but also at the airport. And then she's looking back, kind of like waiting, and I'm like, girl, you didn't talk to him, you didn't tell him anything, so now you're waiting for somebody to appear? Like, girl, you're so frustrating. Anyway, she goes through security, she's boarding, she even has the little Prince book with her. He is on his way there, but on the drive there he gets huge headaches, he can't focus, he can't really see that well. Then he runs through the airport, through security, and I mean, I'm amazed that he got that far. So then the last security kind of doesn't let him through, and he's having trouble focusing, seeing things. And when she wanted to board the plane, she also had kind of a physical reaction. She was touching her stomach. Like, I don't know, you don't get pregnant that quickly, in my opinion, or is the time gap between the episodes that huge? I don't know. She was either feeling sick or she was having this physical reaction that Serkan had back in the day when she was near. So maybe she had a reaction that he was near. She then turns around, and then when she's like outside in the security area, she's kind of like not really touching her boob, maybe her heart, I don't know, but she had it right here. So I'm like, what is that? Is it because he's near her? Or I don't know, he sees her, he shouts her name, and then he collapses, and I'm like, girl, what? Then she runs towards him, and that's the end. And I'm like, what just happened? Like, this was an amazing scene. I really liked the end. I didn't like his hair when he fell down, but that's another thing. I don't know if it's stress or fainting. Maybe it could be stress because he had, but I mean, when she left him for Italy, he had a fever and he was feeling sick. So I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with the accident he had. Maybe he has some flashbacks of the accident, or, oh my god, please don't go that route of him having a brain tumor or something, an illness in the brain, and I don't know. Like, if they go this route, I will give up on Kapımı. I'm being completely honest. Like, this would be the most ridiculous thing ever. If this fainting doesn't have a reasonable explanation, I'm done with it. Because why do it when you can't really explain it. Anyways, so she's not going anywhere, obviously. We didn't get a trailer, so these are only my predictions what I think might happen in next episode. So I really do hope that we don't get some bad news with Pırıl and Engin, so that everything is fine with them. I think that Aydan and Kemal will get closer, and I do think that Serkan will get Celine to do a test, and also Dennis kind of, or maybe Dennis is helping them to find out the truth. So Dennis is kind of redeeming himself in front of Eda and Serkan. That would be amazing. But other than that, I can't really say anything. It was a decent episode. I really enjoyed it. If it wasn't for Eda being so frustrating, I would have enjoyed it even more. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what will happen next. Of course, next episode it will be somewhere in the hospital. I don't know. We will see. I'm really excited. I hope that the story will continue a little bit more positive, and Eda to mature a little bit, to communicate with people and not be so frustrating. But yeah, other than that, I really enjoyed it. I hope I mentioned everything. I hope I didn't forget anything. If you still like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this episode. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring that bell to be notified whenever I post something, and I will see you next time. Bye!